Today I'm going to do beef baby back ribs. For some of us, such as myself, who will not be grilling on Memorial Day, I'm not even going to do anything. I am, however, going to make some ribs. I'm going to do beef baby back ribs, and it's pretty much going to be the same recipe as my other barbecue rib video. Only difference is, like I said, I'm doing beef baby back, and today I'm actually going to do my own sauce as opposed to using jar sauce. But if I were to use jar sauce, then my favorite would be I think it's Kraft honey mustard, and another one is Sweet Baby Ray's. Those two are really good. But like I said, I'm going to do my own, and these are most of the ingredients that I have that I'm going to use. And of course I have a paintbrush, because around this time all the basting brushes are out. So yes, a paintbrush is an alternative as long as it's new, obviously. I mean, so with that being said, I'm going to wash my hands, get started, and I'll be back. So, oh, I wanted to show something else. I made collard greens the other day, and I forgot to mention, I'm making some more right now, that if you wanted to make more collard greens, right, you could actually take some of the stems and add them in with the leaves, which is what I'm doing. See, you can actually make more like that, but I just wanted to show that. So yeah, I just wanted to show that. So anyway, I will be back. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the membrane from the back of the meat. I mean, you don't have to, but that's just what I do. So I'm going to remove that, and then I'm going to add my rub and just let it marinate. I would recommend doing it overnight, but today I just don't have time, so I'm going to do it for at least an hour. I'll let it marinate. So like I said, I'm going to remove the membrane, and I will be right back. And if you want to know how I do it, I do have another video. I think it's called oven barbecue ribs, and I show that. I'm not sure if I'm going to show it here, because as I mentioned, I do have another video showing that. So I got most of it off. So now I'm going to do the rub. For the next step, I have a cookie sheet which is lined with foil. Also, you'll need foil, a lot of it, because I'm actually going to wrap the meat up and cook the meat in the foil. In addition, you will need brown sugar, cayenne pepper, and onion powder, which is what I'm going to use for the rub. So my rub is all done, and the ingredients that I use for the rub, like I said, is brown sugar, which is 1/2 cup. I used 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and I used 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. However, I did use a little more the last time, so if you want like a spicier rub, then you would just do like, I think like 1.5 tablespoons of cayenne pepper. But I just cut it down to 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. So that's the recipe for the rub. Again, 1/2 cup brown sugar, 1 teaspoon onion powder, and 1/2 teaspoon cayenne pepper. If you want more heat, 1 tablespoon of cayenne pepper. So I'm just going to rub this over the ribs, all over, and then I'll come back and tell you what I do. Okay, so I've placed the ribs on foil, which I'm going to wrap the ribs in this foil. So I use like a really long piece of foil. Make sure that it's enough to where the ribs can be wrapped up in the foil. So again, I'm going to start my rub. I'm going to start rubbing the meat. So now that I finished rubbing one side, I obviously flipped over. I'm doing the other side. And once I'm done doing this, I'm just going to get rid of some of the excess I'm going to get rid of some of like the excess brown sugar on the foil. I'm going to keep this meat in the foil as I mentioned before, and I'm going to make sure that it stays like down, like meat side down. So I'm gonna do the rest of the meat, and then I will show you what I do next. Okay, so now that I've finished rubbing it, I turned it, it's meat side down, which is how I'll cook it. And now I'm just going to wrap it up and make sure, like I said, that it's enough. Make sure that it's wrapped up so that it can fit everything, like everything, because you don't want anything leaking out. In fact, I may even like double or maybe even triple wrap it, but I just wanted to show how I wrap it up. So now I have my cookie sheet from earlier, and I have it lined with foil. And what I'm going to do is put my ribs, which I wrapped up with foil. See, I put the ribs on top of the cookie sheet. And remember, meat side down. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator and just let it marinate for an hour, maybe two. But like I said, I recommend letting it like just marinate overnight, but I just don't have time. Or at least like a minimum of 8 hours. Otherwise, I mean, if you can't do it, like I said, an hour or two, which is what I have to do today. So I'm going to do that, do the rest of the meat, and then I'll come back. So for the sauce, I'm using 1 pound or 12 ounces of tomato sauce, and it doesn't have to be any specific brand. In addition, I'm going to use what is this? Okay, an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, and again, as you can see, I'm using like different brands. I'm adding a 1/4 cup of brown sugar packed. Add 2 teaspoons of onion powder. I'm adding 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. Alright, so now I'm going to use a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup honey. It's taking forever to come out. I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. In addition, a 1/4 cup of molasses. I'm going to add liquid smoke, and I have 2 here. And since the hickory has the least amount, I'll probably use that because I probably like that one better. So I'm going to do a tablespoon of the liquid smoke. And I'm using hickory smoke, a tablespoon. Mix it up and make sure everything is well blended. And that's it, nice sauce. You could either leave it like this if you want, or you can heat it up. I'm actually going to heat it up, which I always do. So finally, you can use 1 teaspoon of paprika. Right now, all I have is smoked paprika, so that's what I'll be using. So 1 teaspoon. And then mix it up. We're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of regular salt. Do 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. I didn't want to leave anything out. I forgot to mention that I do add another half cup of brown sugar. So you add 1/4 cup of brown sugar plus a half of brown sugar. I mean a half cup of brown sugar. Again, a half cup of brown sugar plus a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Like I said, you just like mix it up. And again, you can leave as is or you can heat it up. But I'm actually going to heat it up because I want it to like thicken or whatever. Alright. I'm just going to pour the sauce into like a sauce pan. As you can see, it's a lot of sauce. And now I'm just going to bring it to a boil. That it's rapidly boiling, I'm just going to turn it down and simmer it for about 30 minutes. Simmer, you can stir it occasionally. Okay, so as you can see, I had to put the other ribs in a disposable pan. And then I have the one that I put in the cookie sheet that was lined with foil. So I'm going to put these in a 200-degree oven for 4 hours. Again, 200 degrees for 4 hours. So I let the meat cook for about 4 hours. And it just came out of the oven, and I'm just gonna let it cool down some, and then I'll come back and show you what I do. Okay, so what I'm doing now is removing the foil, and the ribs cooked very nicely. So what I'm gonna do is get rid of like the excess liquid, and then I'll come back. I wanted to show this. This is what I was talking about. I'm going to get rid of all of this. I don't need it. This is what I was talking about. And even though the meat is done, don't turn the oven off yet. In fact, you can like up the temp, or you can keep it on 200 or whatever, because I'm going to now add the sauce. And once I add the sauce, I'm going to put it back in for another 10-15 minutes. And I'm going to use the sauce that I showed earlier. I'm just going to start to put that on the ribs. This is a lot of sauce. I probably won't even use all of it. That I've added my sauce, I'm going to put them in the oven for about 10 minutes, no more, because it's getting late and I don't have the time. If you want, you can barbecue the other side, but I'm done after this. So, okay, so I'll be back when it's all, when I take it out the oven. And if you want to repeat that process again, it's up to you. I know some people do, but I won't be doing it tonight. So I'll be excited to turn the meat over and just sauce the other side. So I'm just gonna sauce this side and put it back in the oven for another, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. But like I said, if you want to repeat this process, then that's great. But I will not be doing it. Like I said, I'm just gonna sauce this other side, and that's it.